Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This question is directed to Representative Cilley. Regarding the challenges mentioned in your opening remarks, what will you do to promote and generate regional solutions in 13 communities? And also, what are your views on growth in the Seacoast?
You're going to need to read 13 communities?
That's what this says. How many communities do we have in this district?
5.
5. Well, then, I'm not sure what the question is, but I guess what we'll do is revise the question. What would you do to promote and generate regional solutions in your district?
For growth and development?
Person answering the question, asking the question,
Does anybody want to
clarification.
The challenges that you mentioned in your opening remarks, regional solutions for those challenges?
But I mentioned several, so I guess I'm not entirely...
Do you have any regional solutions for any of the challenges that you mentioned?
Oh, absolutely.
And you, thank you. And your views on the growth in the Seacoast at the same time.
Okay, thank
You can fit it all in, right?
Yes, we can. Let's try to keep this down to the 2-minute mark. New Hampshire has grown 17% since 1990. That's twice the rate of any other New England state. We are projected to grow 28% by 2025. That is going to put tremendous burdens on our natural resources. And there are many steps that communities can take. It is going to require coming to the table with all stakeholders. And I'll give you a quick example. I mentioned workforce housing. That is something that our businesses need in terms to be attracted to our state. I met a police officer's wife in Somersworth the other day, and she loves the community, don't get me wrong, but her husband is a police officer in Portsmouth, and they had to be very careful to stay within that 30-mile mark. And she's very concerned. Can he make it to, his job when there is an emergency in Portsmouth? Can he be there on time, given our infrastructure with transportation? Anybody going down Spalding at 4 o'clock in the afternoon knows what that's like, or 8 o'clock in the morning. So our towns are burdened with high costs for education. The average cost of a house has to be $625,000 in the state in order to compensate for children in the school. We can do it with cluster developments. We can do it with multi-unit housing. I understand the municipalities are very concerned about those types of things. Rochester, though, has a great track record with cluster development, from what I understand. And I think that we can address some of those problems in that way. There were a lot of challenges I mentioned. I hope that I gave you some.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor McLin?
I have to agree, there's challenges all over the place. Could you repeat that question, please?
I guess it's mine.
Okay. I'm sorry.
It was partly in a question in response to Representative Cilley's challenges that she outlined in her open remarks. I guess maybe what you could do, if I may, to expedite, is just have you address your thoughts on the growth in the Seacoast and how you would plan to deal with it from your seat in the Senate.
Growth in the Seacoast, it's going to happen. It's happening in Somersworth. I'm sure it's happening in Rochester here too. We see it. We see people from Massachusetts moving in. There's nothing wrong with that. They're all entitled to live where they want to live. But the growth is hitting us now, and it's going to hurt our infrastructure, our roads and stuff like the Spalding Turnpike. I believe we got to bring that up to par from the bridges all from Portsmouth all the way to Rochester. Somersworth's been fighting for exit 10 for years. We still haven't got that yet. I've testified in Concord on that. Where I live on High Street, we did a survey last year when I happened to be, not because I was mayor, but I was mayor. There was 28,000 cars a day going by High Street in Somersworth. So the growth is expanding, and we got to curtail it in the way we can, and we got to fix our infrastructure, or else it's going to hit us bad.
Okay, thank you. We're running a little short on time. We want to make sure we have the opportunity for the candidates to give their full 5 minutes of closing remarks.
5?
Yes.
No. But then ask more questions.
whatever you
Neither one
have.
of us want 5.
All right. Let's see what we have here. I think we've sort of addressed this, but maybe we can talk about it a little bit more. Given the current groundwater issues facing the district and the world, what are some of the responsible ways to deal with this problem? And I guess I would start with Mayor McLin on this. Water issues.
I believe that this is a big problem. I'm sure you're referring to Nottingham, USA Springs. We've got to protect that groundwater and environment. I believe this is a local issue between Barrington and Nottingham or whatever, and I don't believe the state should have stepped in and granted this permit. The infrastructure on Route 4, Barrington, Nottingham, the surrounding towns with the trucks driving in and out is going to be devastated to these towns. If we have a drought, it's going to be worse. I believe it's a local issue, and I don't believe the state should have stepped in, and I don't believe that Department of Environmental Services should have issued a permit. And I will fight this in Concord if I'm there, and I believe these towns, this is America. And these towns have the right to do what they want and not the government stepping in and telling them what to do.
Representative Cilley?
That was another one of the challenges I can expound upon a little bit. Sitting on the Resources, Recreation, and Development Committee for the past couple of years, groundwater and the issues, groundwater protection was a high priority for us. We had approximately 20 bills that came before my committee. All but Senator Green's and mine were killed. I was the sponsor for HB 1609, which is a pilot program today. It will be a full bill, if I get back in there to continue to fight for it, that will allow protection, greater protections for groundwater by insisting that any applicant for a large groundwater withdrawal permit has to show the impacts on all other users going out 10 years into the future. Our Clean Water Act, under which our Large Groundwater Withdrawal Act is embedded in our statutes, never referred to the future. And so while our towns have these 10-year master plans and 10-year build-out programs, we did not account, the legislature did not account for how these permits would affect other stakeholders going into the future. That pilot program is now in place. It is being implemented as we speak, and so it will offer that as we move forward. We do not legislate on the basis of one company. We legislate on the basis of broad-based issues. So from a legislative standpoint or a senatorial standpoint, there is nothing further that I know of that can be done about USA Springs. It is in the court. There are people sitting in this room that are fighting it in the court, and to be honest, I hope they win. But that is not my responsibility any longer. My responsibility is to ensure that that type of debacle doesn't happen again.